Hello there. The world has been coming to terms with the latest rounds of conflicts in Ukraine, and that is America seemingly backing off from supporting Ukraine in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. But to understand what is going on, we need to understand the background as well as think outside the box with a number of concerns in this short summary. Now, we have three actors here. We have Russia, we have Ukraine, we have the West, that is USA, UK, and the rest of Europe, and so on. Now, Russia is a big boy in the world. USA also is a big boy in the globe. Ukraine is just a small boy among the big boys. So how significant is Ukraine in whatever that is taking place from that side of the world? Now, this is what you need to understand. So, for very many years, Russia has been having suspicion, unease, and sense of insecurity over Europe and the West. Russia under USSR and Russia now alone has existed as a global firepower. USA, on the other hand, representing the West, has also been around for very many years as a global firepower. Now, and having said that, these two powers have existed with principles of promoting two different ideologies, each aimed at using these ideologies to set dominance and influence across the world. So because of this, Russia started developing strategic behavior against the West. The West, on the other hand, that is USA, UK, and other European allies, also did the same against Russia. So this tension between Russia and the West made Russia to have instinctive sense of insecurity towards world affairs, especially the increasing Western influence towards Russian Western borders since 1940s, of course. And this historical tension between Russia and West ran through the current strategic hotspots of Finland, Baltic states, Poland, Belarus, and Ukraine, in which the West tried and they are still trying to strategically plant their influence against the expected Russian dominance. Now, as a result, the West managed to impose their influence on Finland, Poland, the Baltic states, which is the former Soviet countries of Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. So the West made sure that these countries become members of NATO alliance, European Union, the OECD, that is the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, and they also became members of Eurozone, apart from Poland, who is not. Belarus, on the other side, is not a member of any of the above, especially NATO. Instead, Belarus is a member of CSTO. CSTO is Collective Security Treaty Organization under the auspices of Russia, which consists of 6 post-Soviet countries, that is Kazakhstan, Armenia, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Russia. Now, NATO, on the other hand, has 32 member states under the auspices of USA, which consists of countries which joined NATO, that is after its founding, that is Greece, Turkey, Germany, Spain, Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland. We also have Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. We also have Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Albania, Croatia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Finland, and Sweden. Remember, NATO has its original members, that is Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, UK, and of course the United States of America. So here, Ukraine decided to remain neutral, not joining NATO nor CSTO. I hope though I have mentioned all NATO member states correctly, though I stand to be corrected. Now, according to Russia, Ukraine is strategically positioned, rich in food and vast minerals. And Ukraine joining any Western alliance like NATO, including European Union, Eurozone, and so on, shall technically be against Russia's regional and national interests as far as strategic dominance, influence, national security, and sovereignty is concerned. So, Ukraine's alliance to the West was in a big way going to be a threat to Russia's existence as a geopolitical power, which could result into a decline of Russia's influence as a powerhouse in the world affairs, in which the USA and Western allies were fighting so hard to achieve. So Russia has been growing as a major European power and a world force, and it became a threat, and therefore it faced competition from other European nations, and the United States also saw Russia as a threat if it dominated world affairs. And so this created tension between Russia and other European nations, especially among neighboring states who seemed to be pro-West, which mostly hindered diplomacy. And remember, the USSR itself, which Russia was inclusive, was automatically having buffer zones, which was enough area that assured that there is enough space between them and the Western powers, with the aim of keeping the enemy afar. But by the end of the Cold War and the Soviet members countries gaining independence, Russia remained alone. And Russia as a federal republic now technically found itself with some pro-West neighbors like the Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia, Nordic states of Finland and Norway, and other pro-West states like Poland and Georgia. Despite that, pro-Russian neighbors also existed like Azerbaijan, Belarus, China, Kazakhstan, North Korea and Mongolia. And in this case, Ukraine chose to remain neutral because psychologically Ukraine was all-round strategic to Russia, both economically and geopolitically. And above all, according to Russia, Ukraine was technically a buffer zone. And being neutral, it would keep away the Western powers by creating a significant space that helped keep away the Western powers from poking their noses into Russia's doorstep. So in return for security guarantees and on Russia's demand, Ukraine had to sign a non-proliferation treaty to give up Soviet nuclear weapons to Russia. And in 2013, however, Ukraine went ahead to propose an agreement of association with the European Union, and this did not sit well with Russia, who warned Ukraine of invading their borders if they dared enter the European Union agreement. So instead, this made President Yanukovych by then to decide and sign the Eurasian Economic Union led by Russia. This led to a massive anti-Russian protest and deaths in Ukraine, in which President Yanukovych fled to Russia. In turn, Russia invaded Ukraine and annexed or took over Crimea in 2014. Now, being bitter of Russia's actions, Ukraine, which was initially a neutral country, decided to revoke its neutral status and seek membership in NATO. But it could not be possible since in order to join NATO, a country needed to have no unresolved external territorial disputes, which was ongoing between Russia and Ukraine, of course. Now, the idea of Ukraine's preference to join NATO was technically going to be a win to the West and a loss to Russia, and therefore Russia saw it as a threat that provoked him into war. So, in December 2021, Russia issued an ultimatum to the West, which included demands that NATO end all its activities in Eastern European member states and ban Ukraine or any other former Soviet state from ever joining NATO. If not, face strong military response. Remember, most Eastern European states willingly joined NATO for security reasons, but at the same time, by doing this, they had technically become pro-West. So according to Russia, Russia was being threatened because Ukraine government officials were already under the Western control, Ukraine was developing nuclear weapons, and that hostile NATO was building up its forces and military infrastructure in Ukraine. And on February 24th, 2022, Russia had nothing to do but invade Ukraine.